All right, knocking episode 1 out the way. What is up, everyone? My name is CGscrubs, and welcome to the very first episode of the Scrubs podcast. Today, on which I'm recording this episode, is November 4th, 2020. And if you're hearing me right now, that means I haven't been dead given the election happening prior to my recording. The results haven't been shown yet, but as soon as that happens, goodbye. I'll see you in the next life. Because all right. So this podcast isn't going to be about politics, right? It's going to be more focused on like entertainment, gaming, anything that really interests me. And if you guys have any sort of topics that you want me to cover, you want to get my perspective on things, just let me know. You can use the Anchor messaging system, whatever that is, or if you know me personally, you can either send me a text message, or I might implement a way for new listeners to incorporate like DMing me. So primarily I'll probably like more so focus on like Twitter DMs, since I don't mind people getting a hold of me that way. So if you want to follow me on Twitter or mainly any social media, it's going to be at CGscrubs. My YouTube is going to be capital C, capital G, it's going to... All right, yeah, I'm doing great on my first podcast, am I right? It's going to be capital C, capital G, and then SCRUBS, CGscrubs on any social media, which includes Twitter, YouTube, all that shabazz. And yeah. And we're going to start the episode off with some TV show recommendations. And actually, before we get into that, this episode might be short because I've wanted to do the podcast thing for a little while now, like since around the beginning of the year. But time management forced me to put that aside for now. But now that I have free time, given that as of right now, my internet's actually out. So I was like, you know what? Let me just record a podcast for future reference and then upload this whenever possible to see how well this can transfer into something grand. I would like to have this podcast like grow exponentially because I do think I have like interesting takes on things, and I would like to share that with the world. And let's see where this goes. I might have some guests pop in every once in a while. Give another perspective, because I don't want to just be spouting out one perspective when multiple perspectives are usually needed to form a valid opinion. But yeah, let's just get this started with episode 1 of the Scrubs podcast. And right now we're going to be talking about TV show recommendations. One show that I can recommend off rip, which I honestly didn't think I would be interested in, is a show called All American. So far, 2 seasons have come out, and the third is slated to come out, I believe, January of next year. And this show is it's interesting, right? Like it's like a teen drama, and that's not something that I'm interested in. Period. Like that's just something that just never really interested me, because it's just like I don't care about high school life or the perception or Hollywood's perception on high school life, because it's nothing really. Honestly, even in the show, I don't think it's that accurate, or at least from my perspective. It wasn't really accurate, but I like where how they handle the drama in this, the quote unquote drama. Like if you're first of all, this show is recommended me by like by a girl of mine, not a girl of mine, but a girl. And I'm not saying girls can't give off recommendations that I feel would be supplementary to my my viewing experience, but with this particular girl that recommended this show, she was like, okay, you like the type of shows where it's like it's like, if you like this type of show, you're probably the type of girl who goes to Starbucks every day and wishes for a pumpkin latte, and that like it's just your lifestyle, and that's just not my thing. But I decided to give it a shot because I don't want to force a narrative on any sort of thing without giving it a fair chance. And I'm glad I gave this a chance, because I actually enjoyed a majority of this show, and especially the first season. The second season I feel fell off a bit in terms of story quality, but some may differ. Overall, I give the show a 7, but if I ranked them individually per season 1 I would give it an 8, while season 2 I give it a 6. Season 1 I feel like introduced the characters well. There's a bit of chemistry. I can tell there's chemistry with the cast and how they sort of intertwine with their characters. I like how the main character Spencer, like, well, actually, the one thing that I can find some people be annoyed with was like him, like I've seen like memes on this where it's like, but you know, bro, I know you trying to help me, all right, but I'll be good, all right. What about Compton? What about Crenshaw? What about Crenshaw? What about my mom's? What about Dylan? Like, if it's just like that's basically his character trait. But like, I like how he interacts with others and like how he's sort of developing into the football star that he's bound to be. The remaining cast I also do enjoy. As of right now, I'm forgetting their names, but you have, I think her name is Olivia in this show. Good characters, probably again, these are high schoolers, so they might be relatable to you. Like you're gonna have Olivia, the not suicidal, but like she's sort of a depressed girl, not seeking attention, but just like seeking maybe courtship or just like friendship, among others. You also have the jealous jock. That's at least in the first season he was jealous. I forgot his name. Like trying to get Spencer away from was that the case with Olivia? Like, cause Spencer and Olivia sort of have a thing going, but not really. But you know, you'll understand what I mean when you get into the show. But you know, that's sort of that with the high school stuff. But you know, yeah, that's just one show I recommend. I hope the third season does better, because the second season there's just a bunch of stuff that I just did not agree that should have happened. Season 1 started off strong, but now it's just sort of dipping off a bit. But I really hope that's not the case with season 3. So yeah, if you have seen the show, let me know what you thought. And yeah, the next show that I recommend is the if you haven't seen her, you see, this is how I know these podcast notes are old, right? Like the show that I'm about to recommend, I've it finished in what, like May, I think. Like it started out in February but ended off in May. It's the Star Wars: The Clone Wars season 7. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I don't know why you would start off. First of all, I don't know why you would start off with season 7, but like I was just like with season 7 in particular. Like it's sort of a mixed bag, right? There's 3 arcs in this. There's the Bad Batch arc, the whatever the Sisters arc, and then the final 4 episodes, the Siege on Mandalore. If I had to rank each arc, the first arc, the Bad Batch, would be I give it around an 8. When I first saw it, I loved it. But I think it had to do with the fact that we haven't gotten Clone Wars content in a while, so I was just really hyped to see it. But after a while, thinking about what happened, I was like, all right, it's a solid starter to the season. Give it an 8. The second arc, I think the Martez sisters, I think it's the Martez arc. Yeah, that it sucked. It had Ahsoka in it, which she's the quote unquote highlight, but like she didn't really save the arc. Really, like the characters she was surrounded with were just not weren't really interesting. They had an interesting plot point, which had to deal with like how Jedi operate outside of their circle, how they interact with others that aren't in the Jedi code or whatever. Seeing other people's perspective on the Jedi is, I thought that was a good plot point that they brought about. But all in all, that was really the only thing that could have been interesting about it. But they didn't really. They delved into it like a decent amount, but it was something really grand. And just like the characters, aside from Ahsoka, just weren't really up to snuff with the rest of the Clone Wars. Even though I love the Clone Wars, most of the characters are forgettable to me in Star Wars, just because like it's just too much a little bit. But when I do enjoy something, I'll give it props. And the next thing that I do enjoy is the Siege of Mandalore. I don't want to give anything away with the Siege of Mandalore. If I had to recommend anything in season 7, I would just recommend the last 4 episodes, because that can be its own Star Wars movie. And if it was its own Star Wars movie, I'd guarantee you it would be the best, in my opinion. Like, to me, in my opinion, the final season of the Clone Wars is not only the final 4 episodes of the Clone Wars is not only the best like arc in the Clone Wars, But I can make the argument that if it was any sort of Star Wars media, so if it was like the story of a video game or a story of like a movie, say if it was like episode 10, but chronologically it won't be episode 10, it would be like 3.5. It'd be the best in my opinion. Objectively and subjectively, I just really love it. I love the character interactions, Darth Maul, Ahsoka. Man, there's just a lot to unpackage there, and I feel like if you're a true Star Wars fan, you're just gonna love it. And yeah, if you're not a Star Wars fan, again, I wouldn't recommend diving into the show period until you've seen the movies. But yeah, that's just something off the top. That's just something I recommend highly. Is the last 4 episodes especially. And I don't have this on my podcast notes, but The Mandalore season 2 dropped the first episode. I like the episode. It wasn't anything grand. It was sort of like filler. A Boba Fett might make an appearance because we saw someone have his suit, and I'm not gonna spoil too much, but there's just possible hints that Boba Fett might be coming back, and that'll be interesting. For season, if you want to know my opinions on season 1, it was still good. Thinking back, I might have overhyped it a bit because everyone else did. I think it'd still be a solid show. I'm not sure if I'll rewatch season 1. Because I don't think I'll have the time or just like the desire to do so. But if I go based off memory, it's still solid, and I feel like this one, the second season still might be solid also. Now these next 2 things, technically one, but they're technically 2 different things. I'm in all honesty, these aren't that great. Especially the first thing I'm about to not even recommend. It's just like my overall thoughts is Power Season 6 and Power Book 2. Now Power Book 2, it's technically a second series, so I'll get back to that in a second. But Power Season 6, right? First of all, if you don't know what Power is, it's basically like a crime lord drug show, with a bunch of characters that just, you know. All right, so the main if you go back all the way to season 1, is just about this main drug lord. He's trying to get out of the drug game, but his friend and his wife are just like, no, you don't need to do that, you know, we got all this money, like what's even the point? But then he sees like his old high school girlfriend, and then is trying to get more intertwined with her, and like, you know, trying to build a better life with her, and even though he's married. And that literally delves into the next 5 seasons, into season 6. But season 6 in particular, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It just sucked. Now I've gotten this sort of mentalities because I watched the show twice, right? Once by myself and once with a friend, and we came to the conclusion that Power Season 6, like when I first watched Power Season 6, I thought it was fine. But it's now I think it's good to, when you're developing an opinion, to give something a second chance to formulate a better opinion. I'm glad I did, because season 6 just sucked to me. The story and how everything went just went to crap. And I did like characters should have died multiple times. The main characters mainly. Like there are instances where it's like, if it's like the opposite of Game of Thrones, where it's like main characters can die left and right and you wouldn't expect it. And in Power Season 6, freaking characters, like if they were to die here, it would be understandable, but because the plot needed to keep them alive, they stayed alive, and it was just not good, man, overall. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Power Season 6. I'm not gonna the show overall is cool. It's just Season 6 and a little bit of Season 5. Like, my opinions on Season 5 changed a bit. I like Season 5 a little bit more than when I first watched it, but it's not anything grand really. But Season 6 is just a no for me, dog. And then Power Book 2, which continues off from, it's sort of like a separate storyline between Power Season 6, or Power in general, I should say. It hadn't finished yet. It's like at the halfway point, like mid-season finale type stuff. And overall, it's all right. It's just cool. It's just they delve into a different character. and how that character particularly goes through his struggles, and it's based off the ending of season 6, so I don't really want to spoil much, but so far it's basically season 6.5, if I do say so myself. But just as of right now, not as bad. And then the last thing I have on my list is for TV shows, and this one is hard to recommend because I haven't finished it yet. It's taken me a while. Like it's the show. And this is an anime, by the way. It's called Hunter x Hunter, or people call it Hunter x Hunter. So far, I dropped the show a decent amount of time. Not dropped it. Like, I dropped it once for sure, but other times it was just like I just felt bored. And I know people, if you watch anime, you're probably gonna disagree with me. Like, the reason why I got into the show is because I see a bunch on Twitter where it's like, oh, this is the best anime period. Like, this is better than Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, like all the main animes, like the big ones at least. And when I watch the show, I just don't feel that. Like, maybe Z in the sense, like with OG Dragon Ball Z. All right, segue. So side note, right? So this is a bit random, but I'm gonna go on topic. Cause I'm gonna go off topic because screw it, right? Because I watched. Sorry, one take. Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball anime, in my opinion, sucks. Right? It's not even the story, right, that sucks. It's the pacing. The pacing of the story is so bad that, like, because I was watching this with a friend also. Like, we watched it to where like, the memes where it's like in Dragon Ball Z, it would take forever for them to do one thing. Like, one character would look at each other and just be like, all right, we're gonna power up now, and then they power up for like 5 minutes, and then it cuts to the narrator saying what will happen next time on Dragon Ball Z. Like, it takes forever to get to one thing, right? And that was Dragon Ball, and that was the original Dragon Ball anime in a nutshell. It takes forever for them to do one thing, and it's not even the story's fault. I feel like if I read the manga, because like as long as I read fast, I wouldn't be as bored. But like, the pacing and everything was just so bad that we had to speed up the video player that we were watching the anime. And it was still slow. Like, that dude was just screaming like ah for like 5 minutes straight. It's just like, this is a no. Like, the anime version of Dragon Ball just sucks. I'm not calling the story trash. All right, I'm just saying the anime version sucks, which is why again, I haven't read the manga, so I wouldn't know to recommend the manga over the anime. But assuming that you can actually read fast enough, and assuming that it's just still the exact same story canon wise, then yeah, sure, you can watch Dragon Ball. It's like a solid show. And if you want to watch Dragon Ball Z, I'd rather you watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, so like you won't have that same issue. Like, I don't think it was that bad in Z, because at least for me, because I only watched the Boo's saga in Z, because like I got into Dragon Ball because of Dragon Ball Z Kai. When it came out in like Nicktoons, and then I had to watch Boo for the Z version because that didn't come out on Kai at the time. And now if I ever go back to watch Dragon Ball, like if I want to watch the Z storyline, I'm just gonna watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. Like, there ain't no way I'm watching Z or Dragon Ball to get my fix. And stay away from Super. It sucks. Freaking so all right, that delved into some other crap. So Hunter x Hunter, right? Honestly, like, it's solid where it's at right now. I'm in the what people call like one of the best arcs in anime, the Chimera arc. Honestly, it's not that grand to me. Like, it's nothing too special. Like, thinking about all the arcs, I guess it'd be as of right now, because again, I haven't finished this, so my opinions might change. Right now, it's like the second best arc. Like, second best? Let me think. No, it's gonna delve between second and third best, because I did really enjoy whatever the Phantom Troop arc was called. It might have just been that, and then the Greed Island arc I did enjoy, and then the Chimera arc, and then whatever the first 3 arcs were, where it's like, I think it was the Hunter exam, I guess, when they were going to Killua's house to get him back or whatever, that arc, and then the Heaven Arena arc. Like, those arcs so boring to me. They're nothing too grand. Like, when someone tells me I'm gonna watch the best anime of all time, I expected that, and I didn't really get it when I watched those first 3 arcs. But I pulled through, and I continued based off recommendations. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I already delved too deep into this, so I was like, well, might as well finish it right. But like, the one time where I like almost just dropped the show completely, and I did for a while. I was just like, no, I'm done. I'm off this, right? Like, that dude Hisoka, the dude with the pink hair, dude sus as dude. Like, all right, so like, he's about to fight the one of the main characters, Gon, and then like all right, so people make fun of Orochimaru for wanting Sasuke's body, but at least it didn't have a with this. Like, dude, Hisoka freaking like saw Gon, was like, I was like, no, I was like, no, this ain't it. This is not it, dog. I dropped the show for a little bit, and I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with this bullcrap. Like, I don't want to watch any sort of show that deals with that sort of thing. But it was like, it was still recommended. I was like, F it. It was as long as it's not too deep into that, then fine. And at least right now, nothing like that has happened again. And that's so sus though. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, as of right now, the show's okay, solid. If I had to give it a rating, it might be like a 7 or an 8. I don't know why people overhype this show. But maybe there's something I'm not seeing yet. Maybe because originally when I first watched those 3 arcs, it was mainly in dub, and then I just wanted to watch sub. Because I don't know, like, I don't care to watch sub or dub, just whatever. It's a preference to me, but maybe the dub just wasn't as to snuff as the sub, and maybe that ruined my experience. But who knows? I don't expect to watch this show again. But yeah, it's I don't want to piss anyone who watches the show and likes it, but then again, it's my opinion. Screw yours. So the next topic that I wanted to get into was the music section, and again, these notes are old, and I just added an album off here that I did enjoy on this list. But I don't know, because I was gonna say top 5 albums so far for me, but one of these aren't really an album, and I don't want to give definitive like hierarchy within these albums, except one of them that I'm gonna mention later on. That one would be on my number 1, but the rest I just had to figure out. I'll wait to the end of the year to probably do that. But my favorite projects so far this year, one of them is Unlocked by Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats. And I don't think this is an album, right? I'm pretty sure this is an EP because there's only 8 songs and the thing only lasts like less than 20 minutes. But those 20 minutes, they were banging, my guy. Like, the production, I really enjoyed the garbage can type production, like boom bap beats, like the futuristic sounds that compile into everything that this album like wants to present, and like the bars that Denzel was spitting. I thought it was just great, and how he laminated everything in this fresh coat of I'm not trying to like give big words for no reason. It was a good listen. It's only like, I think it was like 18 minutes or something like that, less than 20. So I recommend it based off that. You're not gonna really waste your time listening to the EP or album. Again, I'm 99% sure it's an EP, but whatever. Next album off, or next project I should say, that I really did enjoy was High Off Life by Future. Now this would be higher on my list if I did compile this into like a top 5, if this wasn't 21 tracks. Like the reason I say that is because if it stopped at track 16, this would probably be my second, like it would be like number 2 for my top 5 albums or whatever. But the thing is, the last 5 tracks, if they're not considered bonus tracks to me, if they're not considered bonus tracks in general, and like they're part of the whole album's aesthetic, then I can't really place it much higher, because number 1, the last 5 songs weren't really that amazing, and number 2, like bonus tracks to me, they shouldn't I don't like to rate albums based off the bonus tracks because they weren't part of the original vision the original album was supposed to take. And I feel like if the last 5 tracks were supposed to be meant for High Off Life, it diminishes the score a bit. Because honestly, they're just not that great. I did like the one with Meek Mill and the remix, the first half of the remix for Life. What was it? Life is Good. Like Future's verse was just fire. But overall, the last 5 tracks were they were whatever to me. They diminished the score a bit. But if it was just those first 16 tracks, I give it it would probably be like a solid 8 on a good day, maybe like 7.5. Just because like tracks like Trust the Sky, Trapped in the Sun, Riding Strikers, Accepting My Flaws, like those songs are just they're just toxicity at its finest. And I feel like they were super accentuated. Like the album presents them in an accentuated way where it's like you're really just gonna enjoy the beats that are provided, and as long as you don't take the toxicity to an extreme, because these it's just jokes to me when it comes to toxicity. I just enjoy Future's like wordplay and how he expresses himself in the album. Some songs I can do without, like the one with Young basically the features. I'm just not a fan of it. Features does great by himself, but the features, they just didn't really help the album too much. Like the one with Young Thug, the one with the young NBA Young Boy, the one with Lil Uzi Vert, especially the boy. That sounds like a song that could have been on Eternal Take. Yeah. I did enjoy that album. If you like bump in the whip music, stuff you can listen to the gym, I recommend that album. Next album is 3/15/20 by Childish Gambino. It's a weird album. It's weird how it forms. It's weird how the album forms itself. I can't really make what the album was supposed to be about, but I did like the production on it, and the lyrics that I did get off of it. I enjoyed. The features were the few features that I recognized were good. Just an overall good project too. You'd have to listen to yourself, but I'd still put it as a top contender. I probably have to re-listen to the album to get a better understanding, but I did enjoy it. Next album that I really enjoyed was Circles by Mac Miller. This is actually my first Mac Miller album. It was really good. Like I put off on it because I was just never a Mac Miller fan. So I never really cared to listen to the album. But I've heard some rave reviews from it, and I was like, I'll give it a chance. And I'm glad I did. This is definitely one of my favorites. It might topple over number 1, but I have to re-listen. I think I had to re-listen to it once or twice more to gauge that opinion. But I did enjoy it. Like it would be low-key depressing if like I grew up. It'd probably be low-key depressing if I grew up listening to him, but because I didn't, I'm not super sad that this album came out. Like I still found enjoyment with it, but I can still see I still have empathy for people that listen to Mac Miller beforehand, and just listening to the lyrics that he sang, it's really depressing. And it's an album that I feel like some people can relate to, and when it comes to being sad or whatever. But I still recommend it. Like, and yeah, rest in peace Mac Miller, by the way, if I haven't said so already. And then my favorite album so far this year is After Hours by The Weeknd. Now this is just toxicity, but like heavenly, right? Like The Weeknd is a great singer to me, and he really accentuates that on this project. The production here with the neo pop aesthetic, just it how many times am I gonna say it? I don't even see that movie. It's a great album. The production I really like. The toxic lyrics. Like you wouldn't think Future toxic, but toxic in a sense is like you wouldn't realize like you're poisoning the your partner that you're trying to seduce or come in to play with. The album, like, put it, how should I explain? It's like, you'd have to listen to the album to understand what I'm talking about, as long as you listen to the lyrics. Some of my favorite songs on there, there's a lot of After Hour, like the song After Hours on After Hours. What was the first song? Alone Again, Scared to Live, Blinding Lights was cool, Heartless is alright. Repeat After Me, the interlude, Until I'm Bleeding Out, and my favorite song on there, Faith. Oh man, that just that bumps my guy. It's a great album to listen. I know so you have to be in a certain type of mood, just sort of listen to the whole album, and probably a certain type of person too. Because if you're in my age demographic, you're probably not going to be interested in sort of listening to this sort of album. But I'd still recommend it to try to give, because you never know who might like the album. So I still recommend it for other people, even if you're not a fan of this music. And that being said, since I'm done with these music suggestions of mine, I would like to know what your music suggestions are. So please tweet at me at CGscrubs, or if you're hearing this on the Anchor podcast, I think you can like leave a message. I'd appreciate you sending some sort of music suggestion, because I like to listen to a lot of music when I do have the free time. So any sort of music, I'd appreciate it. It doesn't have to be hip hop like most of these are, or R&B. It can be any sort of genre, and I'll give my opinion on it. Just know that I might be super critical of what you provide for me, and you might not like it. But if you don't care, and if you're a human being that can take opinions, then go for it. Send me something. Next topic of discussion. Let's go into the gaming section. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are coming, I believe, next week or so at the time of this recording. And as of right now, I'm not going to get either, right? And it's mainly because, number one, I don't feel like funds should just go towards like gaming right now, especially in the state that we're living in. Like, gaming in general is just not that deep. It's not super important to invest in right now. Like, COVID is still running a ramp. You need to keep your savings in line. Prepare for the future when it comes to just like life in general. Like, these consoles, they're just whatever to me. But that being said, if I had to pick one, right, it would also, another reason is just have a gaming PC. So what's the point? But for console wise, if I had to pick one, it would definitely be the PlayStation 5, because they actually have a lineup of games that I am willing to spend money on, to invest my time in. And Xbox doesn't really have anything for me. With Xbox is like, even with my all right, so background on me in gaming, honestly, I'm not a first party guy so much. So I would, if you gave me a console back then, I'm not gonna complain. I'd pick mainly third party games. Like, legit, the reason why I got my Xbox 360 was for Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. And the reason why I got my PlayStation 3 was for Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 1. Like, I'm kind of shallow when it comes to like, wait, excuse me, got that burp. One take. The PlayStation. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I'm really shallow when it comes to like picking. Like when it comes to like playing games. Like, I'm sort of set. I was sort of set on what I wanted to play when it comes to like things that I was just interested at the time, which is like licensed games based on like stuff that I enjoy, like Naruto and the like, Dragon Ball, whatever. But yeah, like, I only bought those consoles for those reasons. But since I'm more if I wanted to invest more time in gaming, definitely now would be the time, because there's a bunch of games that are coming out that intrigues not only myself but other people as well. For me personally, with the PlayStation 5, they got the new Spider-Man game, Ratchet and Clank, God of War was announced. I think I think it's from I think it's coming out like 2021 or 2022, whatever that's coming out. What else is coming out? Just an overall an abundance of games. I think Final Fantasy 16, but that's also on PC. I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, overall, PlayStation has like my money. If I do get the console, I still have to decide whether I want the digital or the what was it, the optical version. Because am I really gonna use the optical drive? Because I thinking about it, like I wanted the optical drive because future proofing. Just like what if I want to get the disc, and like what if I wanted to play like Blu-rays or whatever. But thinking about it now, it's like I don't like having to carry my physical discs anymore. Like it's sort of a hassle to like get it in the box. Like if I had to move, I had to like get it in the box to fit all my stuff. Whereas like at least all my games are in like my based on my email address or my PlayStation service or whatever it's called, PlayStation Network. At least it's still there. And then Blu-rays, like I almost never buy DVDs. Like I just use, we just use the streaming services, right? So like, what's the point? Unless you're trying to collect things, and that'd be cool, I guess. But like you still have to deal with the fact that like you have to move stuff around. You gotta freaking like you just have to deal with that sort of thing. Like whereas it's just another step for you to like do something where it's like it's simple to just have things digital. But then again, the reason why I would consider the optical disc is because what if somehow my account like gets terminated, and then and all those games are just gone, right? I thought of that way back when also. Like, so, all right, I can have this, I can download this game off the store, but like what if somehow I lose my account? Like, am I gonna get that game back? Do I have to call PlayStation Services if I make a new account to tell them, hey, my account was terminated, can you send the thing over or something like that? But if they can't, then you're out of luck. Imagine spending so much money on those games and you can't play them anymore because you lost your account for whatever reason. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the PlayStation 5 for the in general. Like which versions I don't know. I still have to think of if I do decide to get which one I would prefer to get. But for Xbox, no, I'm not getting it. I honestly have no reason to. Like what games if you say Halo, you need to expand your horizons. There's nothing that Halo can. Halo, from what I saw with the Halo thing, it was just so boring. Like that world map was whatever. Like it's just like, oh, the world map would like expand when you just defeat a bunch of enemies type crap. Like who cares to do that, bro? What else y'all got? Like what's that bug game that whatever? I think, oh yeah, but the one thing that it's not gonna really intrigue me, but for others is like I think Xbox or Microsoft, I should say, bought Bethesda, right? And they have a bunch of IPs. I think Fallout. I can't think of any on the top of my head, but like Fallout being one of the main ones. I think, what is it? Darksiders? No, what's it called? What is that one? It starts with a D, I think. I forgot. It was crap. I can't think of it at the top of my head. But it's man, I just don't remember. But anyways, they bought Bethesda, and you would have at least with Xbox, you can just have a deal where it's like those games can now just go over to Xbox only. Meaning there's gonna be more revenue for Xbox, which is cool for them. But for me myself, I just don't care. But if you're a Bethesda fan, that's cool, I guess. But one thing to note is like I'm not sure about Bethesda at this point, but like for both the PlayStation and Xbox, they would label their games where it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a PlayStation exclusive or an Xbox exclusive, but it's also coming to PC, which means like there's really no reason to buy these consoles if your favorite game that's supposed to be on that system only is also coming to PC, even if it is at a later date. Assuming that it's not too far, there's no reason to get the consoles. Like Final Fantasy 16, I think. I think it's 16. It literally said in the trailer when it was first revealed, PlayStation or console exclusive. But then actually it's like, oh yeah, also it's a PC. It's coming to PC also. So it's like, all right, yeah, no. I would rather most people invest in a PC. Like I think PC gaming is the wave. Like these consoles, yeah, they're showing quote unquote PC level graphics. Which is good, especially for the price. Don't get like if you just had to get a console, it's fine to get either or because the prices I think are great. Because there was speculation that the prices were gonna be like $600-$800 potentially, but like I knew, like in my mind, I'm just like, there's no way people are gonna pay for that, especially with COVID going on. People need to save their money. Like they shouldn't really invest into these game consoles like that. But the marketing, the prices, the way they did, I thought were great. for both Xbox and PlayStation. Xbox, they did a great job having a lower end console be only what $300, and then the higher end 4K one being what $500. I think the 300 one only is up to 1440p. The 500 does 4K. And then the PlayStation I thought was even better because like I said before, you can either pick the digital or the optical drive, and the digital one is only $399 or $400 if you want to round up, and then the optical drive is only $100 more. So I think that was way on their part also. So if you want to buy either or for the prices alone and just future proofing, trying to get some games, then yeah, that's cool. But still, like, if I would rather just invest in a PC for a long term, because you can do so much more with a PC and play more games having a PC. Because you're talking about it's just too bad that I have like a PlayStation 5 but I can't play like PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 games or anything like that. You can do it with your PC. You can literally play PlayStation 2 game. Like, I'm not saying this is the definitive reason why you should get a PC. That being said, that just reminded me, I actually have a video on YouTube. Type search, if you want to search on my name or search on my YouTube channel, there's going to be a video called 3 reasons why you should get into PC gaming. It details some reasons that I feel like some people should get into PC gaming, and I feel like one of them is emulation. Emulation is a great tool to utilize, assuming that you're doing it legally. And yeah, I'm all for people just getting a PC, because that's future proofing. And yeah, you're gonna have more power, you're gonna have more graphics, better. It's just gonna be better overall. And yeah, I'd rather people get a PC. But if you do want to get the consoles, if you can't afford a PC at the moment, they're fine. Particularly the PlayStation 5. But if you're just gonna play third-party titles, nothing wrong with Xbox, I guess. Just first party, y'all kind of lacking. But for the last thing, which it sort of delves into. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Ooh, man, these hot wings. The last topic that I want to get into today is more on the technological side, but really this is just part of the PC side also, because I can't really think of anything technology in general that I'm interested in right now. But we can talk about the 3000 series graphics cards a bit. These graphics cards, from what I've seen with benchmarking, have been good. They've been good. I was really hyped when they were showed, but after seeing what they could do, I was just like, yeah, they're good. Like it's like, if you have a 20 series graphics card, I would not recommend you upgrade to these, only because, like, I'm not saying it's not a high enough increase. It is pretty sizable, I would say, but the problem is, it's like it's like, all right, so for the 2080, right, or the 2080 Ti, I think that was like what, $1,200. The 3070 that came out is around the performance of a 2080 Ti, and it's less than half the price. It's only like $500, and it's like, you could just spend it's only $500 to get the graphics card, but it's like, if you already have that type of power anyway, why would you get it? There's just honestly no point. Now, I'd only recommend you get these cards if you have like a 10 series card, which is I do right now. I have a 1060. I really want to get either a 3070, or if the leaks are true about the 3060 or the 3060 Ti, I might just wait for that for mid-range gaming. I want to get into like 1440p gaming a bit. And I think these cards are going to be a great stepping stone for that, especially with like ray tracing and stuff like that. I think these cards are going to be great for future proofing a bit, especially if you have a 10 series card right now or anything lower. If you have a 10 series or lower, I recommend getting these cards. But if you have a 20 series, I wouldn't bother. That being said, that's only if you can get one right now. The bad thing about these cards in general right now is that you can't get them. Like, stores, they just don't have the cards in hand. People have been buying them left and right, and they're just off the market as I can't seem to find a 3080 or a 3070 anywhere, and if the 3060 comes out, it's probably going to be the same deal. Like, these cards are they're just so popular, I guess, that people just want to buy them left and right. And I think people are using bots to like buy them off the website so no one can get them, and then they can resell them on like eBay and stuff like that for more than their value. So it's like, nah, like we just gotta wait to see how the market is gonna shift to where we can get these cards at a at their core value, so we're not spending more than what they should be, you know. So we just gotta wait on that. Other than that, that's like the only thing that I don't really like about these cards. Also the 3092, I don't really like it. Like, it's cool that it can quote unquote do 8K gaming, but that's like 8K gaming, and like it's like 8K. All right, so what they benchmarked for 8K gaming was they were like, oh, we can it's the first card to do 8K 60 FPS. There, it was like, you gotta put an asterisk on that. It was like, yeah, but that's only in certain, number one, certain settings, and number two, they did like the deep learning super sampling. And I think what that thing is like, correct me if I'm wrong, is basically like, all right, so you're taking like assets of the textures and you're amping them up a bit, but then the whole thing is actually like a lower resolution. So like, it can be 4K, but like deep learning, the DLSS thing, like it super samples like the small textures that you wouldn't be able to notice if you're upscaling 4K to an 8K TV, but they're amping the textures up so you can see it, and then it just looks better on 8K. But it's not, I don't think it's true 8K. I could be wrong on that, but that's just from what that's just from what I can see. That's what the case is. But yeah, like that's the only way you're really gonna get 8K 60 FPS. But base like native 8K, I've seen benchmarks where it like barely does like 30 FPS. It might hover 40. I could be wrong on that, but it's like the 30-40 FPS mark. And even if they did 8K 60, what is the point right now? Like, no, does anyone really have an 8K monitor? Like, I know there are 8K TVs out, but like those cost a bundle. Like, you're gonna have to spend a few G's on that to like get 8K TVs. Or like, I don't think any. Can your internet even support 8K? Be real. Like, you know, your monthly bill is gonna go crazy if you're just gonna run 8K crap. But you gotta keep yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. Are you gonna spend what, 1,500 on that card to run your, because I'm generalizing, like, I shouldn't assume, I guess, because, you know, 2020 people is, but like it's like, are you really gonna spend like $1,500 on your 1080p screen? Like, you're gonna hit those 60 FPS marks or 144 hertz marks if you have a high refresh rate 1080p screen, but you're still not getting the value that you paid for. Like, you might as well just go for a lower end card, get your value, get your money's worth, and then just go about your day. You don't need to spend these cards right now. Like, I honestly, I would wait like a few years until 8K is more viable, because I think just now 4K is just like becoming maybe not the super standard yet, because I feel like 1080p is still king. I mean, it might, people might disagree, but I think 1080p might still be keen. I think 1440p is a good range to be in right now. That's what I want to go into. But 4K is like creeping in there. Like, if people said it's the king, I'm not gonna fully disagree. We'll just have a healthy discussion on that. But 8K, no way. 8K just like a sort of topic that's just starting to blow up a bit, and it's honestly not that deep right now to get into. And yeah, honestly, 8K can wait a bit. Give it like 4 or 5 years when it'll become more of a standard, and then we'll see how things level out. And by then, more graphics cards should come out, and they'll let's give it a random number, like a 6080 graphics card will probably do 8K like no problem at 60 FPS by that time, maybe a little bit more. Give it like 4, 5, 6 years, and we should be straight on that. But like 8K right now, we don't. I don't think you should invest in 8K right now. That's just my opinion, but up to you if you want to spend that. But that being said, look at benchmarks for yourself. See if you feel like, if you want to waste your money, go ahead. That's your choice. But anyways, like, that's the podcast. That's episode 1 for the Scrub podcast. I thank you guys for listening so far. If you reached this far, thank you so much. I thank you for sticking with me through this. This is gonna be rough for it was already rough this episode, but I still appreciate you for those who stood with me for this episode. I really appreciate you. Yeah, much love to you, much love to all. Yeah, like, if you want to recommend any TV shows or music, tweet at me, DM me. If you have my personal information, just message me. Or if you're listening on Anchor, You can, I think, you send a voice message. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. This has been the episode. All right, this has been the first episode of the Scrubs podcast. Podcast. What the fuck? This has been the first episode of the Scrubs podcast. Thank you for listening, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Assuming that the election doesn't go haywire. Good night, everyone, or good day, or what? Bleh. Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.